How we stepped up sugar from a mother and daughter duo who've lost 240 pounds combined.
Let's face it, if you're a sugar addict, you know it. We hear it all the time, proclaimed sugar addicts. And they always call themselves that because it's like one of those things. It's a very insidious relationship with sugar. Sugar's in everything. If you start to put sugar on your radar to eradicate it from your life or minimize it, which is kind of hard to do, it's in everything. Sauces, dressings, flour. I mean, any prepared food is going to have it in it. I can't even go to a restaurant today, even a healthy one, without finding sugar in everything just about.
I remember when I was a little girl, you literally would tell me, like, Penelope, check the labels. If the first 3 ingredients are sugar in it, we can't buy it. I was the most disappointed little girl ever because I literally would want this fancy cereal. It looked so good. I want all these yogurts, and I'd check it, and the first ingredient was sugar. The second ingredient was high fructose corn syrup, and the third ingredient was another kind of sugar, and I was always so sad. I remember going to you and being like, Mom, please. And you were like, Penelope, what are the first 3 ingredients? But now looking back, I'm very excited because I actually know how to look for ingredients without sugar. And guess what? I can't really get anything, so I have to make it all at home because that's just the way the food industry works.
Out in the world, you have taste buds and everyone has these sweet taste buds and they want things that are sweet. But the truth is that when you get off sugar, you start to access freedom because there's these little things in your gut, in your belly that want more sugar. And so we want to encourage you to consider stepping up sugar. And a lot of people have been asking us in the comments and the questions like, what do you do? How do you step up sugar? What do you recommend? So we've been on a journey with sugar, just like you. We've been totally addicted to sugar. I either find you're on it or you're off it. It's like a drug. So the first thing that we did for stepping up our sugar was eating healthier sugars, right?
We started with cane sugar, right?
Yeah.
So if this is where you are, you start with cane sugar.
Right.
And then you go to brown sugar.
Yep, that's it.
That's the second step. And then from brown sugar, you go to coconut sugar or palm sugar.
Yeah.
And then from palm sugar, you go to maybe monk fruit.
No, it's agave.
Agave,
honey, and maple.
Agave, honey, and maple.
Yeah, because those are like going to give you the same level of sweetness.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's delicious. And these are healthier because they have minerals, they have more phytonutrients-ish. But guess what, folks? It's still sugar.
Still sugar. Sugar is still sugar. So then when you go from there, you find out that there is monk fruit. And a lot of people don't know about monk fruit.
It's true. MONK.
Fruit. Lakanto is a great brand. It is a little bit more expensive, but you don't need as much as you do of cane sugar. I find it interesting because when I read labels of how much sugar they put in things, you notice they put a lot in it, but it's also because cane sugar isn't as concentrated as monk fruit. So where maybe you use 5 tablespoons of cane sugar for something, you might only use 1 or 2 of monk fruit and get the same sweetness. And Lakanto has a bunch of different kinds. They have a brown sugar of monk fruit. They have a white sugar of monk fruit. They have a powdered sugar of monk fruit.
They have syrup.
Maple monk fruit syrup. They have different flavors of monk fruit syrup. They have even coffee syrups for monk fruit now. And a lot of people have a big bias against stevia.
Well, hold on. So I just want to, so there's sugar alcohols, which some people say are not good for you. If you eat too much, it can give you a lot of flatulence because there is,
erythritol.
It's erythritol, it's xylitol. But so we don't recommend eating fake sugar like aspartame, sucralose, like mannose, Splenda, like
maltodextrin.
Yeah, we absolutely would advise against that. They're excitotoxins and they can excite your brain cells to death. There's plenty of research that they show cognitive decline, like early Alzheimer's onset, Parkinson's, and other cognitive, derangement. So we don't recommend eating those fake sugars.
That's actually why we didn't mention them on our list of sugar substitutes.
Yeah.
Because they actually still give your blood sugar the same response. I was actually listening to Dr. Robert Lustig on the Huberman podcast, and he was talking about a meta-analysis they did where they gave people sugar-free like aspartame, sucralose, and it was the same effect as normal sugar. The body doesn't know the difference between the two, so it still has the same glucose spike. So you may think you're doing yourself a service by eating aspartame or cellophane or maltodextrin or sucralose, but your body doesn't know the difference.
It's so fascinating. That also plays a role in the nutritional psychology studies where they did one group that had the fake sweetener that doesn't have any calories and supposedly isn't supposed to spike your blood sugar. And the other group had like milkshakes, like regular sugar. Afterwards, both groups showed a spike in sugar, but it was also because they expected it to be a milkshake. And they expected, it's so interesting. The anticipatory hunger longer affects your blood glucose levels. Fascinating. So that leads us all to say that sugar is sugar, but it's less likely to become addicted to the monk fruit sweeteners, to the stevia, which would be our highest step up, which would be stevia leaf. So if you can grow the plant in your kitchen or in your garden, if the climate works for the plant of stevia, but it's a green plant, you can add it to your smoothies, you can add it to your drinks. We do use stevia. I take breaks from it every so often. It is very sweet. Not everyone likes it. There's definitely hacks about how to use it. There's hacks about how to use the monk fruit as well. So we have tons of information about this in our program, how you substitute, when you substitute, how much you substitute. So we really get into the nitty-gritty with you.
But I want to say one thing about stevia that I find really interesting, and monk fruit. They are growing massively in the industry of making sugar-free chocolates with
Sodas,
stevia
chocolates,
and monk fruit, which is really impressive.
And expensive.
Inexpensive. So if you're somebody who's going through your journey and you're looking for other products that might have stevia in them, Lily's chocolate's one of my favorite. You cannot taste the stevia. I know a lot of people who are very hesitant to stevia because they tried it one time and they don't like it. But I'm telling you, swapping out your coffee syrups and your sweet syrups to, I know a lot of people love the skinny syrups that have aspartame in them and sucralose. Really bad, really addictive. I really don't recommend. I do recommend swapping it with stevia syrups because they're just way better for you. And I've used them in my journey for my coffee, for my drinks. Stir has a great brand that just uses stevia for water flavorings because a lot of people use skinny syrup. So if you're using skinny syrup, I recommend Stir. And in our program, we tell you a lot more about all these other types of products that I recommend. I do want to mention one more thing about the blood sugar because I saw somebody on Instagram once who was wearing a glucose monitor and he tracked how his body did after a 12-hour fast. He drank a glass of water and put a tablespoon of monk fruit in his water to see if his glucose spiked. Now, even though there have been meta-analysis studies saying that monk fruit and stevia do make you have a glucose spike, his body didn't have a glucose spike. The same thing with stevia. He did the same test the next day or the day after with stevia in his water as the first thing he ate, and he had no glucose spike for the first 4 hours. He had nothing. So I just thought that was interesting to point out.
It is interesting to point out because your psychology plays just as much of a role as the actual physiology. Do you know what I mean? Like you're influencing your physiology with your psychology. Like what you're thinking, what you're feeling is playing a role in your blood glucose. And I've worn one of those monitors, a few times, and it's fascinating. I will get more of a spike from high fatty foods. Anyway, that's another topic. But I know a lot of you out there are going to Starbucks and you're getting those 4 pumps of whatever. You would be shocked if you looked at how many grams of sugar are in some of these like pumpkin chai lattes. And like I can't even get a matcha latte without sugar. All of the nut milks at Starbucks have sugar in them. I mean,
coffee, they all have it. I always ask to look at the bottles and they have sugar in them.
All of them. So
even meat has sugar in it now. I mean, there's so much.
Really?
But yeah, meat, there are a lot of processed meats that add sugar in them.
Oh yeah, processed meats, sure, like hot dogs and things like that, luncheon meats sometimes. Anyway, so this video is really just an example of our approach to how we step it up, and how you have abstinence in Overeaters Anonymous is by relinquishing the consumption of flour and sugar. And we love to set ourselves up and our clients up for success. And so in the beginning, we suggest that you step it up to learn what substitutions are available to you as your taste buds start to change, as your microbiome starts to change, and then slowly you're ready to try something new. And so we're with you every step of the way. And just because we're loving stevia these days, we've also learned how to make stevia taste great, which is an art and a science in and of itself. Anyway, we'd love to hear about your journey with sugar. And if you're feeling like you'd like some support with getting off of sugar, trust me, it's possible. It's really close at hand and we can help you through it. So please click in the description link below and we'd love to get to know you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We love to grow our audience and make a bigger difference because we really care. And we've helped thousands of people overcome their sugar addiction, lose weight, and find the freedom that's available to all of us.